Well, hello. Coach Lisa here from the Women's Emotional Eating Community Support Group. I am here to bring you a really amazing topic today. This one is all about busting the myths about procrastination. Procrastination and emotional eating kind of go hand in hand, since sometimes we will tell ourselves that we want to do something, we want to eat a certain way, we want to start a certain diet, we want to exercise more, we want to drink more water, we want to do all these things, but then somehow or another we don't end up doing any of those things, or if we do, we end up doing them for a short time only to find ourselves right back in the same cycle. So we're going to be talking about myth busting for procrastination today, since sometimes you can use a label of something by telling yourself you're a procrastinator to keep us stuck from ever getting to the places that you say you want to go. So what ends up happening is that you say you want one thing, and then you end up getting results of another thing, and then you might be overshadowing that with the label of being a procrastinator. And what that does is it allows you to misalign yourself with your truth. Now, when you keep doing that over and over again, it's just going to continue to take you into the same place. And clearly that's not where you want to go, because if that's where you wanted to go, you wouldn't even think you were procrastinating to begin with, since you would just be aligning yourself with the things that you say you want. So you wouldn't do things and it wouldn't bother you. But because it does bother you, we have to be able to look at how you're using the procrastination as somewhat of a tool to be able to keep yourself from getting to the places where you want to go. Okay? So what we're going to start with is, I want you to ask yourself these questions. Do you tell yourself things like, well, I work better under pressure. So, for me, planning isn't a good thing, because if I plan things, then, I end up making a mess of things. And so I just have to be spontaneous, right? Are you telling yourself that? Are you telling yourself that you're lazy? This is one that's huge when you're talking yourself out of doing the things that you say you want to do. And this is where you can really tell yourself that it's like, well, I'm just too lazy, I can't do it, right? And so then you end up getting stuck in this vicious cycle, never getting out of your own way, simply because you're telling yourself you're lazy. So this is all part of procrastination. Are you telling yourself that you have a time management problem, right? So we're now taking this thing that we're doing and we're blaming time management. I just can't manage time, which is absolutely not true. Hang on, it's windy outside. Are you telling yourself that you just don't have enough discipline? But then at the same time, you do plenty of things for other people that would require discipline. If somebody said to you, here, Judy or whatever, go make 10 phone calls because we need something, done for the whatever group thing that we're doing today. You would absolutely take that list and you would make those 10 phone calls right on the dot, right? And then with ourselves, we kind of push ourselves back and we're like, oh no, I'm not so disciplined. I can't do the things that I want to do because I have a discipline issue. And this is all part of procrastination. Another one that we tend to come up with sometimes is that this is somehow or another genetics. That it's like, well, my dad was a procrastinator, my mom was a procrastinator, my whole family, and this is what I learned when I was a kid. So I just, I don't get anything done because this is what I was taught. So we want to be able to bust through these myths. And the first way that I want to be able to do this is to give you the definition of procrastination. So the definition of procrastination is to postpone or delay something. And if you think about it logically and you say to yourself, well, okay, hang on. So on the other end of my postponing or delaying, there's going to be a result of something that is going to serve my best interests, right? So you're not procrastinating, going out and buying ice cream, right? And just eating it all. Like that, you're not procrastinating. But you're procrastinating possibly maybe making a grocery list and buying some vegetables and then actually cooking them, right? And how many of us have come up with, 3 weeks later, like a whole bin full of soggy vegetables to throw away? Like, we kind of had the right idea, but then because we tell ourselves we're too lazy, that idea never ends up coming to fruition, and we end up, on the other side being like, oh, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, I'm just a procrastinator. I'm just too lazy to cook. So we want to make sure during this myth-busting episode that you're not labeling yourself as a procrastinator. And the reason why this is so important is because if you are using that label of being a procrastinator, or you're using the label of being lazy, then what you're ending up doing, and this is really interesting, so follow me. If you tell yourself something, then you will have to follow through with evidence to support the belief of what it is that you're telling yourself. So follow me on this. If you're telling yourself that you're a procrastinator, or you're telling yourself that you're lazy, and you believe that about yourself, then doesn't it make sense that you are going to have to come up with a lot of things to be able to remind yourself of this label that you've given yourself? So if you're gonna say, I'm a procrastinator, then, or I'm lazy, then you really should be doing a bunch of things that are going to not get you anywhere because you've told yourself that you're a procrastinator. So now you actually have to follow through with that if it's your belief. And so now I'm getting hot. I was cold and now I'm hot. So this is why myth number 1 that we're busting is going to be lose the labels. If you're telling yourself something, then you are going to have to follow through with that something. So we can really think about this like, okay, if I'm going to tell myself something that I say that I don't want, like if you're going to tell yourself that you're a procrastinator, then own it. Be like, well, this is why I do this, because I'm a procrastinator. But you can't have both. You can't tell yourself that you're a procrastinator and then get annoyed with yourself when you never get anything done. Like that you can't do, because it's really two sides of the same coin. So on one side, you want to do X, Y, and Z, but on the other side, you're telling yourself you're a procrastinator, which is going to prevent you from doing X, Y, and Z. It doesn't make sense. So think about this the next time that you decide to tell yourself that you're a procrastinator, because it's not true. So that's how we're going to start, and we're going to bust that one open, right? We're going to say that's a myth. It's a lie. It's untrue. Now, you might say to me, well, Lisa, I procrastinate everything. So it is true. Like, I am a procrastinator, which is fine, again, if that's what you want. So if you want to keep pushing things aside, if you want to keep putting yourself on the back burner, if you want to keep putting things in the way of you getting the things done that you want to get done or that you say you want to get done, then you're gonna have to lose the label. So that's where we're starting. Myth number 1, lose the label. If you say you're a procrastinator, you're going to have to put a lot of stuff in front of you so that way you never get anything done. And I don't think that's what you want. I can't imagine that that's what you want. Okay. Myth number 2. Is it possible that when you're thinking about getting the results from what you say you want, is it possible that you could be honoring a fear of success? Now, stay with me on this one too. So many times we will push things aside and we're like, well, I can't do that because maybe I don't know how to do it. Maybe I'm not going to do it perfectly. And I'm really afraid that I'm going to fail. And yet, thinking about this with a little bit of a wider lens, is it possible that you're not actually afraid to fail, that the reason why you're procrastinating getting what it is that you say you want to get done is because you're actually afraid to succeed. So if you think about it like this, then you have to think about it like, wow, so what if I did succeed in doing the things that I say I wanted to do? Like, what would that look like on the other end? And so if you're thinking about it, and if it scares you, like if you're really thinking about like, well, if I want to lose 10 pounds, let's say, and I choose now because I want to lose 10 pounds, so I'm not going to eat ice cream every single night, there might be something that is absolutely terrifying about that to you. And that's valid. It really is, because you might be using that ice cream every night to calm yourself down or to comfort yourself from other things in your life that seem scary. And that's where we have to really be able to look into this through a wider lens, because if you're procrastinating doing the things that you say you want to do because you're afraid of actually being successful in achieving the things that you say you want to do, well, that's not going to work. It's just not. And so for this myth, I've got a phone call. I would like you to try and stay present. And if you have thoughts that are coming into your head that are from the past, meaning that you're like, well, I failed a million times and I clearly don't know what I'm doing and I clearly can't do this right and I'm procrastinating because I don't know if it's going to come out perfectly, think about it. Am I afraid of success? And then if you're thinking about the fear of success, think about also what that means for your future. Meaning if you're rummaging around in your head too many things about like, well, what would it look like if I was successful in this? Then you'll be able to see clearly why you're using procrastination or the label of being a procrastinator to keep yourself stuck. Because if you're afraid of the success of what it will look like in the future, it would totally make sense that you would want to procrastinate getting done what it is that you say you want to get done. However, this also doesn't work, because how can you get out of your own way if you're the one that's putting the fear within yourself, thinking that something that hasn't even happened yet is going to be scary? So I need you to really be able to focus on the present moment. And anytime a thought comes into your head that is not meant to help you grow, that thought is meant to keep you stuck. So think about where your thoughts are taking you and make certain that you're not staying stuck in your own way simply because you're afraid of what it will look like to succeed. So that brings me into the third myth, and this one is going to be all about judgment. So we want to be able to see, well, okay, so if I might be fearful of success, and that's why I'm digging my heels in the sand, and I'm not going to cross that line in the sand, right? I'm just going to stay on the side that I'm not getting anything done. If I'm doing that, is it possible that I'm afraid of what will happen if I get to that other side? Like, what are the pressures that come along with actually doing the things that I say that I want to do? And because there might be a lack of trust within yourself, and also because you might be judging or comparing yourself to other people who you have seen have done the things that you say you want to do. The ideas come into your head simply because you've seen them modeled in other ways. And the only reason why you might label yourself as a procrastinator is because you see other people who do other things that you're not doing. So you can only know as much as you know. And if you look outside of yourself and you see other people doing things that you say you want to do, but you're not doing them, well, then you're looking outside of yourself and comparing yourself and judging yourself to other things that you've seen. And so if you're doing this, that's really going to hurt your ability to be able to take that procrastination and toss it aside so that you can actually get to the truth of what it is that you want. And you can do that without judging yourself, and without comparing yourself, and without labeling yourself, and without blaming yourself, and without shaming yourself. Because sometimes you might not be ready for what you think you want, and that's okay. But because we see other people doing it, it's like, well, I want that. But then you might be fearful of ever getting that, because it's like, well, what happens when I get there? And so that's why when we are labeling ourselves as a procrastinator, we're kind of using it as a big blanket, like a dark tent to just keep ourselves under. And we never really get to the truth. And so the third myth bust is to stay in your own lane. Really just see if you can navigate through the things that you want, and the things that you say you want. Remember, if you didn't want anything different, this wouldn't be a problem. Like, you wouldn't be saying, well, I'm procrastinating, because you would just not do the things and you'd be fine with it, right? But because we feel that it's a problem, because you feel that it's a problem, because you want different results than what you're getting, and you're procrastinating the initiation of the action steps that you must take to get there, and you're digging your feet in the sand, kind of like, oh, I don't want to step over that line because it might seem scary to you, which is valid, and it's okay. And so what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to, I think we went through the 3 myths, so we want to be able to not label yourself. I almost forgot what they were. Not label yourself. We want to be able to stay present, and we want to be able to stay in our own lane. And if you can take these 3 things into your mindset, you will be able to lessen the inner voice that's coming inside your head that's telling you that you have a problem with procrastination, because that is just not true. Yes, you may be standing in your own way a bit. Yes, you might be comparing yourself and judging yourself to others. Yes, you might be labeling yourself as being one way or the other. But the truth is that you're a human being, and when, sorry, a bug just came into my face. When you are ready to go through the journey that you're supposed to go through, and you're able to take those fears of the past, of the things that haven't worked for you, and of the present, of the fear of like the unknown, getting to that place, when you're able to do that, you will know. You will know when you're ready. And then what'll end up happening is that the help that you need, the support that you need, will actually come and find you. And that's when I see that people start to come into the world of coaching with us. And when a lot of the women join Crush That Food Thing, is because they're like, wow, like I feel ready for this. And maybe like 5 years ago, they weren't ready for it. So you can say that you're procrastinating, but at the same time, if you're at a time in your life where you're just not ready yet, when you are ready, that time will come find you. So trust in yourself that you know what to do. Trust in yourself that you don't have to label yourself. Trust in yourself that you don't have to compare or judge yourself to others. Trust in yourself that when the timing is right, that you will know exactly what to do, and that you will also find the support in your life to be able to help you get there. All right, everybody, have a wonderful day, and I'm glad that we got to be able to bust through some of these myths. As always, if you would like to chat with me a bit and get some more clarity, you are welcome to book a clarity call. You can click on the link around this video. All right, bye now.